On this week's episode, Thor wields a mighty hammer at the box office. Was The Boys just as good in season 3? And is there a future for Tron after 40? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you could like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, Vampires of Vitae, and all the great things that we do connected to the Pop Culture Cosmos by going ahead and checking out the latest news and information each and every week on the world of pop culture, right there at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, popculturecosmos.com. Of course, the great folks at Vampires and Vitae, and the fact that we are the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. Check out all the great games that we do each and every week live right there at Facebook at Pop Culture Cosmos, including Demolition Force, the great games on the weekend. Plus, also as well, we do great things with Vampires and Vitae, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, with Wizards and Wine, all the great things that go on each and every week right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. And if you can catch all of that, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He's our own D-Rez from Tron Lore of Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. Humanican Media, wherever you get it, at social media, plus his great shows, Topicocalypse and the Super BS Gamescast, and his amazing book, which you can get hopefully on sale for Prime Day, which is Congratulations, You Suck. It is my good friend and daddy on the way. One more time, my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
What is going on? How's it going? How's the heat out in Nevada right now?
Just going to be right around 113 all week long.
Uh,
Yay!
We're at about 104 out here.
Oh, we beat you. Sorry.
You did.
Yes, I can get an even higher grade of sunburn over here in Las Vegas. So that's awesome. Awesome indeed, as always. But congratulations to you, my friend. I heard there's a new expected child on the way. I wish all the best to you, your wife, again, for a happy and healthy child.
Thank
So,
you.
hoping that will be
Appreciate it.
always the case for you, my friend, as your family grows even more and more. And truly hoping for great things for the Peterson household, including some great things for you along the line of what's going on in pop culture. I know you have some thoughts on Thor, Love, and Thunder, and we'll go ahead and make sure that everybody knows what those thoughts are as we predict or as we tell you exactly what's going on with Thor, Love, and Thunder. Where did it finish up at the box office? That's coming up in a minute. Plus, also as well, we're going to be talking about The Boys Season 3 that just concluded. Wild and crazy once again, but wasn't as wild and crazy as we once liked to see it from previous seasons. Did it match up to seasons 1 and 2? We'll talk about that coming up. Vince McMahon and the WWE. Even more trouble has been brought out to light in the past few days as more allegations and information has come up in the past few days. So we'll talk about that. Is it going to finally spell doom for Vince McMahon and his control over the WWE? We'll speculate on that coming up in the show. We got an email this past week from the folks at Spades Challenge in regards to what they are reporting or what their study is on the best year for video games. So we're going to talk about if they are correct on the best year for video games, their itinerary, their criteria, what they use for it. We're going to ask ourselves, is their answer for the best years for video games correct? Or do we have something in mind for that as well? plus Amazon Prime Day. We're going to talk about that coming up this week. Who's competing against it, who's throwing out some good stuff, and why you need to be prepared coming up this week for Amazon Prime Day. Plus, Tron turned some magical 40 this past weekend. We want to see, and what we're going to talk about is if there is a future for Tron after 40. Is there life for Tron after 40? That's coming up on the episode as well. But first, my friend, it is Tron. It is not. Well, it's not Tron: Love and Thunder. It is Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder debuted right around 130 million, 135 million this weekend domestically at the box office, and around 300 million worldwide. It is about, I want to say, 65 to 70 million dollars behind Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but it's still doing strong overseas. And again, getting off to one of the best starts in 2022. I was hoping to be a little bit more solid. Analysts were hoping right around 150, but still a very good start to Thor: Love and Thunder. You had some thoughts that you wanted to go ahead and share because you've actually seen Thor: Love and Thunder. So please go ahead and let me know your thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder as it hits number one this weekend for the box office.
I did not enjoy it. I hate to say that. I really do because like I came out of Doctor Strange with a bad taste in my mouth, but I don't know. I'm sitting there watching Thor and I'm like, I really, really want to enjoy this movie, but I can't, because I like Taika Waititi, but I only like him so much. Like it's the movie. Marvel keeps doing this thing where they're rewriting their rules. They're rewriting established storylines and character development, and it really bothers me. They did that with what was it? The Doctor Strange, right? They basically retconned everything they did with Wanda in WandaVision, which I thought was really good. And then they kind of ruined her character by turning her into this like vile witch lady. And then in same thing with Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder, they took I thought Endgame really brought his character full circle, and then they just turned him into a bumbling idiot the entire movie. And I don't know, like I have an issue with this because I did, we've talked about Ragnarok. Like Ragnarok was funny, but it had its like serious moments, which was good. But this entire movie, all of Thor: Love and Thunder, was just the whole thing was a joke. And even the moments that were supposed to be serious, I couldn't take seriously because I kept waiting for a punchline.
Mm-hmm.
And that really made it so I was unsure about the movie. I didn't know what to think about it. Like it was they had the female Thor, right? Like that's a really good comic arc with where Jane Foster becomes
Yeah.
Thor because she has cancer, and they kind of took that story and like they didn't you didn't feel for her because there are just so many jokes happening, and Thor, I can't even remember a single serious line that Thor delivered in that movie.
You talk about Thor. You talk about Chris Hemsworth Thor. You didn't,
Yeah,
no serious nights at
There
all.
there's literally no serious lines from him in that story. They turned him into like a sitcom dad. They turned him basically into like a Marvel version of Peter Griffin.
Where's Seth MacFarlane when you need him,
I
right?
for real. Yeah, I don't know. Like
Well,
I
although he is making the next Naked Gun, so there you
yeah,
go.
yeah, I know. So like I guess I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I don't know. It was just too much. It was too much.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you is the things that I recently talked about with Ben Arnault and also Melinda Barkhouse Ross is regarding the future, where we stand in phase four and where are we going to, where's this all leading up to? I mean, phase four has been a lot about introductions for various characters, and including
Mhm.
today with Thor: Love and Thunder with Jane Foster's character. Going forward in the MCU, where is this leading up to? I know that there's as far as end credit scenes, there's two of them. I don't want you to go ahead and divulge what goes on there, but is there a future? Can you see where they're going? I mean, because was the beauty of even the bad films that you and I suffered through in phases 2 and 3 is we at least saw by the cutscenes, by what went on in the movie, that it was leading all to what happened in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Do you see those type of things happen here? Because again, I know a little bit, maybe it's revolving around the multiverse, maybe it's not. I don't know. Secret Wars, are we talking about X-Men? All these other variable things that are out there that are being hinted upon, but nothing seems directly, there's no through line as what we're seeing.
No,
There no
there's not.
cohesive through line. And that seems to be a problem a lot of people are having. It's like, okay, I know I watched the previous 10 years of Marvel and it all led towards something. So even watching the bad stuff, I at least still got something out of it because it was all leading towards something. I'm not seeing that here in this phase so far. Does that continue with Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, there's no connectivity to a bigger world out there, and that's yeah, I was kind of expecting the end credit scenes to kind of set something up, but it just kind of sets up more like shenanigans in the Thor world.
Mhm.
Um, other than that, like you're right, you're right. Where there is nothing, like there's no big bad ahead. No one's really paying attention to what is the bigger picture, and outside of Spider-Man, was it No Way Home was
Yeah.
the last one. Um, this like first 5 or 6 movies of this new phase, they haven't been good. They haven't been good. Like Black Widow was okay. Spider-Man was great. Doctor Strange, not great. Eternals, not great. Thor, not great. Like it's just the
Shang-Chi was pretty good.
Shang-Chi was good. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. That one was pretty good. But for the most part, the movies have not been good. Like it's just like, one, yeah, where is it going? And two, there's just the quality and storytelling is just not there like it was in Marvel's like first 3 phases, and that concerns me moving forward. And it also burns me out. Like it makes me say like, oh, it makes me feel like it's a waste of time, and I don't want to keep watching any more of it.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what it comes down to. You are just like a lot of other growing amount of people out there that are feeling the same way. Why am I continuing watching these movies? Why am I continuing watching these television shows on Disney Plus if it's all not going to lead anything? We talked about this with Moon Knight,
Hmm.
and it just seemingly wants to do whatever it can to disassociate itself from the MCU. Seemingly, when you watch it, you're waiting for some cutscenes for some type of connectivity, and you're just not seeing it. And just Miss Marvel at least is going to have that connectivity because it leads into the Marvels, aka Captain Marvel 2, at some point down the line
But
next
yeah,
year.
it's still smaller picture though,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
not big big image type thing. It doesn't do that. I know Kevin Feige had said something in an interview like in the next like 3 or 4 months we're going to get to see like what's ahead, but
I know Comic Con's coming up in a couple of weeks, and it's going to hopefully elaborate more on the schedule going forward for the
what
next
is
couple of
next
years.
on the slate though? Like what's coming out?
Black Panther 2 is coming out next, but it's
Okay.
later this year.
All
And
right.
then you have, well, I don't want to say, I guess you could put in the Christmas special for, the Guardians of the
Mhm.
Galaxy. And then you have Ant-Man and the Wasp,
That's right.
that,
That's right.
that third part of the trilogy there. You have for television shows, you have She-Hulk, Secret
And
Invasion.
then
Those are coming up.
Echoes after that, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. Again, we're going to get a confirmation on that. I know later this month on the television shows and movie lineup. I'm thinking through 2023 at least. I'm hoping for that so we can at least get some sort of direction. But will that mean a Fantastic Four? Will that mean an X-Men? What is it leading up to? That's
Yeah.
what I want to know. That's the problem. Is it going to be leading up to some mini Avengers movie like Age of Ultron or something like that, or is it going to lead to something larger like it did
Mhm.
ultimately with Infinity War? I think it needs to lead to something big.
It has to.
Yeah,
Otherwise it makes all these things feel like a waste of time, because you're not going to get people to the movies based on standalone stories anymore. 25 movies into this Marvel Cinematic Universe, they want the connective tissue. That's what
yeah.
Marvel's been praised for doing so well over the years, and now they're like, seemingly breaking away from that formula. And if that's the case, like why are we going to continue to go to the theaters to watch these? It's like you're going to see less and less people go out to watch these, quote unquote event films, and they're just going to wait till they come out, on digital or Blu-ray or whatever to watch them, because why spend that money?
And now with Disney Plus and these movies coming out 6 weeks to 7 weeks later
Mm-hmm.
out on Disney Plus, people are finding less incentive to go out and spend $50 to $100 at the movie theater to
Yeah.
go check it out. I know that we'll be seeing down the line again at some point in time, maybe X-Men, maybe Fantastic Four, Blade. I know we're going to be seeing a reintroduction of him into the MCU at some point in time, which is great, but will that lead into something spectacular in a new Avengers film later down the road? And how much later down the road? Hopefully, we can get a better idea coming up here in the not too distant future, because I think a lot of fans out there are growing sentiment. A growing sentiment from them is similar to what you're having, as far as like, okay, I'm here, I'm watching. Why do I need to continue to do so?
Yeah. So just not to paint an entirely bad picture, let me say a couple things I did like about the movie.
Hmm.
One, Christian Bale's villain was terrifying. Like
Good.
he was amazing in that movie. Like the movie itself is probably like my bottom 5 Marvel movies, but Christian Bale is definitely in my top 5 Marvel villains.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And you also said about Russell Crowe as Zeus. I mean,
Russell
even though
Crowe yeah. He was a joke too, but like they did a good job of, if you're able, this is something, I don't know if this is much of a spoiler, but they do get ready to introduce a new character related to Zeus, who is part of the Marvel comic storylines.
but still, it sounds like he wasn't in it huge from what I'm hearing, and but he did a pretty good job, and it seemed like he was having fun in doing so.
Yeah, yeah. And then I always forget what's the rock guy's name. It's not Korg.
It's
It,
Korg.
Korg. Okay, yeah, Korg. They did a funny little nod to God of War in there, where like I don't want to spoil too much, but like they have Korg is like just ahead for a little bit,
Hmm.
and he's like tied to Valkyrie. So like in God of War, how they had the head that was like telling
Yeah.
the stories the whole time. Korg is the storyteller in Thor: Love and Thunder. So it's just a funny little nod to God of War. Um, I did like the they go to this big god world, the omnipotent city, I think it's called, and they do tie in, like you see the Celestials from the Eternals are there, and like that was neat. Um, yeah, I mean there's definitely some Easter eggs there for sure. There's another scene where like Thor empowers all these kids with like lightning powers, really cool scene there, but other than that, like the movie didn't really do much for me. It was like one of those. Usually, when I am sitting in a movie theater and I have to pee, I'm like, I don't want to get up to do this right now because I don't want to miss anything. But this movie, I'm like, I don't really care. So I just kind of, does
Yeah.
that make sense? It's just like not good.
That's the problem. And if you're thinking that way, and again, it only has a 60 on Metacritic, which tells me there's a lot of people out there and a lot of critics out there that are not liking everything they see.
Mm.
The box office scores, cinema score, as far as from the general consensus, is right around a B plus. So that's decent, and I think that still will lead to some type of return for Thor: Love and Thunder. But right now, in its first weekend, it did pretty good. I know, again, it's gonna have to reach $1 billion in order to pass Thor. Excuse me, it's going to order to pass Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, because Doctor Strange 2 is chugging right along. It's still at 950 million if you check the numbers, so not there at a billion yet. I'm not sure if it'll get there because it wasn't allowed to be in certain markets. So I'm not sure if it's going to get over that $1 billion mark, because again, it's
Yeah.
already 2 months
Has
out.
has there been any word of Thor not making it into those markets too?
There has not been a full 100% confirmation of that. I know China is not released. That's a big deal. As I know Melinda is still firmly convinced that it's going to pass the $1 billion mark, Thor: Love and Thunder, and win out the day. But I'm still not 100% convinced because the fact that, again, it's not played in China yet. There's been no news stories or confirmation that it's been banned anywhere. It's
Okay.
just not playing there as of yet.
Because
So that's
I
the
know
big problem.
Doctor Strange was banned for like the same sex couple stuff, and
Yes.
like Thor: Love and Thunder has a lot of that in there. So that's why I was curious if they were going to end up pulling that one too.
So I'm assuming if that could be the case just for those various reasons, and that's unfortunate. So if that's the case, then it probably won't reach the same heights
Yeah,
as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse
yeah.
of Madness.
You know what? Like I totally get the whole like this is our thing. We're gonna like put it out in its entirety, but like you're ruining a market like box office returns. Like if they don't want those scenes in there, just cut them out and still send it over there because you're keeping these movies from flying. You know, like
Yeah, I hear you. And the Chinese government will go ahead and edit things out that they don't feel is appropriate for their audience and other markets as well if they truly want the film to go ahead and be there and succeed. So
yeah.
that's another thing as well that people consider, that you have to consider as well. So will it pass the $1 billion mark? Will Thor: Love and Thunder reach the same heights and even pass or succeed Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness? I'm rooting for Melinda, and I think that I'm hoping that it will go ahead and reach the same heights and even pass Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out. But first off, again, finished right around $135 million for this weekend at the domestic box office and close to $300 million worldwide. So pretty good start. One of the best starts of 2022 for Thor: Love and Thunder. But if you have thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder, please share them with us. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the break, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit of The Boys. Season 3 just concluded with another cataclysmic battle, as they do seemingly now each and every season ending episode that they do. Some interesting things popped up, but outside
Okay.
of
Well, I keep seeing all these like headlines. Spoil it for me. I want to know like what's going
uh,
on.
I mean, in regards to it with the boys, again, there was a big battle that was impending with Soldier Boy versus Homelander, even though they are technically father and son because if Soldier Boy's DNA was used to go ahead and create Homelander. Homelander's son, that he had with the wife of, Carl Urban's character,
Butcher,
Butcher.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that he was heavily involved. The kid was because the kid wanted to the kid reconciled with Homelander. He reconciled with
Oh,
Homeland.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me one second. Keep going.
Yeah, Carl Urban's character Butcher was deeply upset in regards to the reconciliation of the son with Homelander, and that led to a final battle where it was going to be Butcher and Soldier Boy facing off against Homelander. And it looked like it was going to be, and also Maeve. They found Maeve, who was incapacitated for quite some time. For a couple episodes, they found Maeve, and she was in on this battle. So it led to a battle where, first off, the Soldier Boy, even though that's his grandson technically, he actually got very mad at his grandson and took a pot shot at him with his, and that set off a chain where not only Homelander was mad at Soldier Boy and wanted to go ahead and face off against him, but also as well Butcher, realizing that the bigger of the two evils at that point in time was Soldier Boy, decided to go ahead and turn on Soldier Boy, and they went off in a battle, Soldier Boy versus Butcher, because Butcher wanted to protect the child. And that also led to Maeve seeing an opening, and so it was Maeve versus Homelander, then also as well Soldier Boy versus Butcher, and then Starlight came onto the scene, and Kimiko, she was actually involved a little bit on it, so it led to a battle within the studio. It wasn't the same open confines at the end like we saw at the end of season 2, where it was actually more open ended. It was an okay battle. It's an okay battle. Unfortunately, though, it led to spoilers. It led to the fact that yes, even though Soldier Boy got his explosion out of it, Maeve actually ended up saving the day by grabbing him and throwing him, grabbing him and taking him outside and jumping out the building, and them exploding outside the Vought building. and you think that was the end of Maeve and Soldier Boy, but no, wasn't the end of anyone out there. No major character, really bit the dust, which was again kind of in that sense disappointing that they don't want to really let anyone die except for Black Noir, which met a untimely end due to the fact that he never told Homelander about the the fact that Soldier Boy was his father. That was an issue that with Black Noir. So like Homelander killed Black Noir, even though it hurt him very much to do so. So that was the only major death in this final episode, which seemingly I think needed something more. Again, it was done. The major
But
battle was done.
Black Noir doesn't talk though.
Yeah, but because he was part of the Soldier Boy's original crew, he knew the secret of
Gotcha.
yeah, and because remember the Soldier Boys team, the Soldier Boys team hated Soldier Boy so much that you find out during this over the course of the episodes that they betrayed Soldier Boy and had him captured. I think it was in Nicaragua by or Vietnam, one of those countries there, by the Russians. So that that's how he gets captured by the Russians because his team betrays him. So it leads to a situation where Homelander finds out about his patronage from Soldier Boy, and then this is something like, why didn't anyone tell me? Black Noir, he knew had that long-standing relationship as Soldier Boy, and he knew Soldier Boy was coming to kill him anyways. And he goes, "Why didn't you tell me about this?" And he just didn't. So for that, he paid the price. That was the only major death in regards to what was going on with the boys. I think it needed something more just to shake things up for season 4.
Yeah.
It was good as overall for the season. It was a good season. It had one great episode, which is the Hero Gasm episode, which is the episode, as I tell everybody out there, is the one I think you cannot afford to miss. But overall, it didn't reach the heights, I think, or the consistent highs of seasons 1 and 2 because it did a lot of character building in the early episodes, and so they were a little bit slower paced and they were a little bit more down to earth. Pardon the pun. I just think at this point in time, it led to a good series, a good season. Excuse me, it led to a good season, but not a great season for the boys overall.
Okay. So okay. Do you how does this do you think it sets up a strong future for next season? Because I mean, look, we're reaching that point with the boys where it's like you have to keep making things interesting, or you have to create like a finish line that things are building up to. So where are we with that? I know Kripke originally wanted to do, he had for Supernatural, he had a 5-season story, but the more people liked it, the more he just dragged it on. I think that's what ultimately killed the show. So do we see somewhere this is heading?
Well, it has to head somewhere because if in a not too distant future, because I think the ultimate thing that's going to take place is that the child, the kid, is going to turn on Homelander. That has to be the ultimate battle because he is the ultimate one that has the same level or could have better, even more powers than Homelander. Is the son in all this equation? So at the very end, you see the son watching Homelander kill off a protester, and everybody was that was on one side that loved Homelander actually ended up loving all that, and they were applauding him. And the kid was watching all this, and you see the kid start to smile, like, "Oh yeah, that's what my dad's doing. Oh man, they love him for it. Oh, I can't, I got to be like him." So he's starting to turn towards the dark side, but you figure it sometime in the next couple seasons or whenever they decide to finish off, it has to ultimately lead to a son the Sun versus Homelander type of battle. It just looks like it's going to end up like that because he's seemingly the only one that's going to have enough strength to go ahead and have the power to match up to Homelander. Soldier Boy was put in ice, kind of not ice sort of, but he was put in a chamber. Now the U.S. government has him and has put him, under as far as in the chamber. Maeve has gone into retirement because she was so badly injured after everything went on with her battle with Homelander. She had a battle with Homelander that led to her eye being gouged out. And then before she went ahead and saved everybody by grabbing Soldier Boy and jumping out of the bot building before he exploded. So yeah, she was heading towards retirement on the other side of the U.S. As the episode ends. But with Starlight, she's decided to go ahead and ditch the boys for once and for all. Not, excuse me, she went ahead and decided to ditch Vought International for once and for all, and she's now teaming up with the boys officially.
Of
As
course,
it
we
heads up.
knew that was going to happen at some point. She's
Yeah,
what's the love story like between her and Huey? Is that still going on?
yeah, that's still going on. They reconciled. It got really strained, because he was taking the temporary compound V, which
Hmm.
she found out was going to destroy their brains. And actually, because he continued to do so, Butcher was hospitalized and found out he has only 12 to 18 months to live because he took excessive amounts of temporary compound V.
Oh,
So that
geez.
looks like something, again, that's another clue that's going to tell you that they probably only have maybe 1 or 2 seasons left in
Yeah.
the series because they want to play off that Butcher is dying. And then also, last but not least, the senator that's been involved that actually is secretly a superpower person herself that can actually look at you and pop off
Oh,
your
jeez.
head. She has that ability that was showcased from time to time in the series, in the season. She becomes the new vice presidential candidate because there's going to be a presidential election, I guess, around the center. It's going to be one of the central themes of the next season because the Deep, who is now an obedient understudy of Homelander, he went and killed the vice presidential candidate, so she becomes the new vice presidential candidate. So she is in alignment with everything that Homelander is doing, and that you see at the end of the episode as well.
So Homelander's still manipulating people behind the scenes.
Absolutely, and now that he's running Vought International at the end of this season, or actually, it happened throughout the season where he took over for Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has become the mastermind behind everything. So yeah, it's looking more and more at the end of this season like Homelander has more control than ever.
Jeez. Okay. I mean, that good for them, but I like I said, I hope the story goes somewhere. It's like I hope there's an ending in sight and it doesn't just keep dragging on and on and on.
Well, I don't think it will drag itself on and on and on. I think again with the death sentence that's been handed out to Butcher in the way of him taking too much temporary compound V, the fact that the son is there and now going to play a more integral role because he's now reconciled with his dad and is now, for now, looking like he's going to be turning to the side of evil, but may get that, comeuppance at some point in time. It looks like, if it holds a traditional storyline that could take place. So we'll see what happens. But season 3 was good. It just wasn't as great as seasons 1 and 2. It did a
Yeah.
lot more character arc building, and I think this season suffered for it. But Hero Gasm, which is the major episode, plus the shock value of episode 1, which they did, which there's a shock value, really something that people are still talking about today that was even for them kind of shocking. It was something that people will be talking about from season 3. But yeah, overall, it was a good watch, just not a great one.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm still wanting to catch up on it at some point, but until you say that it's not worth watching, I'll probably still try to watch it.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and hear the thoughts from Melinda because I know she finished off The Boys as well. So I'll hear her thoughts on the PCC multiverse. But if you have thoughts out there on The Boys, please let us know. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Coming up on the back end, it's the WWE and more troubles for them with Vince McMahon. The best year for video games, Amazon Prime Day, and Tron has turned 40. Is there a future for Tron? We'll find out, and we'll share our thoughts on that on the back end of the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with the show. It's the Pop Culture Cosmos. Want to go ahead and thanks so much everybody out there for watching and listening. All of our great radio stations that are out there. We truly appreciate going ahead and checking us out at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Want to thank so much everybody at Retro City Games and congratulate them on their new store that they're opening up this week. They're moving out of the old in their Henderson location and they're going into the new later this week. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to live stream on their Facebook page, Retro City Games. So you go ahead and check that out there. Coming up later this week, I believe on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be a grand opening for their new store in Henderson. So check that out if you're in the Las Vegas and Henderson areas. But my friend, there's still much more to talk about on today's episode. WWE and Vince McMahon, the allegations we talked about a couple weeks ago in regards
Yeah,
to
catch me up on this. Catch me up.
okay. Well, we talked a couple of weeks ago about a hush payment that was made in regards to an inappropriate relationship that Vince McMahon had with a former employee. Well, there was an investigation that was ongoing in regards to that. Plus, is there anything more? Well, it looks like, according to the Wall Street Journal, that they've uncovered that there's been over $12 million in hush money payments for four different inappropriate relationships, or hush money in regards to four possible inappropriate relationships for Vince McMahon that has been paid out over the course of time. Not just happened in the past year. This is something that's happened over the course, I think, of the past 20 years. But $12 million for four payments, this cannot be a good sign, my friend. But when the individual involved owns 80% of the voting shares as far as it's concerned for WWE, it's really hard to go ahead and say if there will be still a future or not be a future for Vince McMahon going forward.
So, okay, I mean, obviously, the Harvey Weinstein thing is like the biggest um, scandal like that known for a long time. How would you rate the Vince McMahon situation in comparison to the Harvey
Oh
Weinstein
my gosh. Well,
situation?
they're both obviously not very good situations at all for either one. And inappropriate relations like that are, as far as that are to the point where, there's hush money involved and things of that nature. That's the what could there be some criminal action going forward against Vince McMahon? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not a
Okay,
specialist in that sense, but we saw with Harvey Weinstein, that's some really bad stuff that went on there, and he's serving a much deserved jail time because of it. So could
yeah,
that happen for Vince McMahon? I don't know. I mean, the hush money was meant to go ahead and hush, but obviously it wasn't hush enough, which
mhm,
will bring this out to light, and hopefully there will be some type of rectification for it, because again, he is the controlling stockholder as far as it's concerned, and he does have the major say at what goes on for the WWE. He has stepped down as CEO, but he's still in charge of the creative product overall.
but
He's
and
still at all the.
his daughter's in charge now, isn't she?
She is
Stephanie
the.
McMahon.
Yeah, she came back off of hiatus. She had taken some time off, and then she came back now as the CEO. But with that, there's still the guy behind the scenes is still Vince McMahon. He's at all the television shows. He's still directing everything. Everything is still run by him. So as
Mhm.
long as he's still there and his presence is still there, it's still his WWE. No matter if he doesn't have the title or not,
Yeah.
it doesn't that really doesn't matter. As long as he's still there, he is still controlling things at WWE, and people will still have an issue with that, especially after what just came to light in regards to all these hush money payments. So I don't know. We'll see. The week ahead. If something happens, I'm going to bring on my good friend John Orlando from the PVD Cast. I just stopped by his show, so please check out the episode that we did at the PVD Cast. So we're talking we're talking a lot of WWE in that show. But if something happens, I have him on standby. I'll bring him on. We'll talk about it. But I don't know. He's been Teflon so far, so I don't know if this will actually be the one thing that finally has him leaving the WWE for good. I'm not even sure
Yeah.
this will do it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's still like it can't the WWE or like the whole wrestling thing, it can survive without Vince McMahon. Like he's a relic of days gone by, and I think wrestling can definitely thrive without him there.
Well, it has to at some point because he's 76 years old. He can't
Yeah.
be doing this forever. So
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are worried that if he leaves, the WWE or professional wrestling as a whole will be on this downslide. WWE right now is, I think, at a point where it's not really doing all that well. It's at a lower end of its popularity, and it's still getting 2 million viewers each and every time out, or right around there, for both its major shows, SmackDown and Raw. So I think that, right now, what we're seeing with the professional wrestling industry is that there's still more to go ahead and improve. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is doing okay numbers as far as that's concerned. I know that a lot of people are thinking that they can go ahead and find some success there and really go ahead and be able to flourish. They're always right around 750,000 to a million viewers for their stuff on TNT and TBS. So I wish continued success for them. We'll see, but the WWE, I think that it will survive without Vince McMahon. It has to. I do
Yeah.
think that they need to sell. I think that they need some type of fresh ideas, because I think what they're doing now is putting a lot of band-aids. They're bringing in Logan Paul. They just signed him to a
Oh, I
major
saw
5 year.
that. Yep.
Pat McAfee, they signed him to an extension on a long-term contract. They've got Bad Bunny coming in and out, whatnot, and then they have Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns now on part-time deals as far as them coming in whenever they want to. That's great. They're all band-aids, but I think they need to focus on the product itself and the individuals that are there day in, day out a little bit more. And once they do that and they find that mercurial star, remember, with the WWE, they're one mercurial star away from just achieving super success again. They're just, whether they create it or whether they whether they fall into it, they're just one John Cena, The Rock, Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan away from going ahead and hitting the stratosphere once again. I think they're just right now in a holding pattern. I think they're at the lower ebb of their popularity, but I think
Mhm.
that, like I said, all it takes is just one good storyline, one good character in order for them to go ahead and achieve success once again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I think everybody will talk again. People will be talking about them at some point in time if they just find a connection to the audience like they did with the Attitude Era. If they do, then this is all moot, But I really think with Vince McMahon, I think at some point in time they're going to have to make a hard decision, all of them, in regards to that, because
Mhm.
this is not looking good for the company. And as long as he's there, it's kind of like this dark cloud that's
Oh,
hanging
yeah, and
over the
it's
company.
it's a liability for sure too going
Yeah.
forward.
Absolutely. So yeah, just if you have any thoughts on WWE and Vince McMahon, we'd love to hear it. But things right now are still the status quo, according to what we're hearing. We'll see if anything changes this week, and if it does, I'll bring on John Orlando, and we'll go ahead and make sure that he's to be taking that we've got your information covered when it concerns the WWE. But what are your thoughts out there on the WWE and Vince McMahon and the latest news and information on the scandal that's going on with the over $12 million in hush money payments that have been made by Vince McMahon over the years? Please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you, my friend, is what I sent over to you on an email by the folks at Spades Challenge. Now, I think when you go to Spades Challenge, it's obviously going to try and get you involved in some type of spades challenge to, if you're interested in spades. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. But it was weird. I got this offhanded email sending in with their thoughts on the best year for video games. So the reason why I brought this to your attention is because you and I have talked about this before, and we've always thought that 2007 is the most mercurial year for video games because of the deep influence that it's had on the industry since then. I mean, it is one of the most successful years for video games, business wise, but is it the most critically lauded year for video games? And I think that's what their point was, as far as what they sent over to me, and then I sent it to you in regards to that, because the they did a study in regards to games on Metacritic and what they're rated at, and it came out to the most games in the top 2,000 for Metacritic, that 2003, with almost 200 titles in the top 2,000 according to Metacritic, that is the best year for gaming. Then it went 2004, 2005, 2002, 2006, 2007 at number 6, 2010, 2001, 2008, and last but not least, at number 10, 2009. Well, the first thing that struck me when I had read this list was that, okay, so you're telling me that the 80s, 90s, and anything in the last decade, there's, outside of 2010, there was nothing there that they didn't have enough good years, any of them, that would qualify under on that list. Kind of found that kind of suspect. And then the second thing is, I mean, they listed out the titles, some of the titles that came out during that period of time, that 2003. #1 era, and it was like what they have: Fire Emblem, Gothic 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Those are great games. I'm not going to get them wrong, but 2007, man, that has a deep influence on this industry like no other.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I in recent memory, like I say 2017 is like stands out to me definitely, but 2007, like I remember playing in 2007 more games that year than I have ever played any other year.
Now they're
Because
saying that this was a statistical analysis just going
well,
off of Metacritic scores.
here's the thing though, like they're not taking into account like yeah, Metacritic scores that's those are critics though, you know, like this was also like we have this 10-year span of time, and I don't know if you remember in the 2000s or not, but like there was a big boom in people creating now defunct gaming journalism sites. So
Mhm.
like you have a bunch of extra things contributing to this, but yeah, this is only like a 10-year span of time, and you know
I
if
know that
you
no 80 no years from the 80s, no years from the 90s, no years from the
no
after
and
2010.
But I mean, just the fact that it only goes from 2001 to 2010, this list here, like it tells me that there's some kind of bias going on in this survey.
It seems like it. Seems like it indeed. I mean, I don't want to say that the folks from Spades Challenge are wrong, but come on. When you look at the lineup of 2007 and exactly see what's going on today, Fire Emblem still remains from 2003. I know that Fire Emblem comes out as far as in different variations and forms from time to time, but Fire Emblem is, can't hold a candle to BioShock,
No.
Uncharted,
Un-
Uncharted, Mass Effect, Rock Band,
mhm.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I mean, we're seeing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the reboot, this year. That
Yeah,
tells you 15 years later how much of an effect that
still
game has.
going
The
strong.
orange, the orange box, Super Mario Galaxy. I mean, you mentioned a ton of games off the top of your head in regards to that. I mean, there's so many games that came out during that. Yeah, I mean, this is the games that you said you played during 2007. Now, I don't know if all these games came out in 2007, but you're saying the games that you played. Go
Yeah,
ahead with your list.
these are 2007 release games. Like there's a
Okay.
couple I forgot. I didn't include Mass Effect or Call of Duty. I forgot about those.
Okay.
So I got Lost Planet, Final Fantasy VI Advance, Crackdown, Virtua Fighter 5, Tekken 5, God of War 2, Armored Core 4, Test Drive Unlimited, Medal of Honor Vanguard, The Elder Scrolls Shivering Isles, Guitar Hero 2, Forza Motorsports 2, Final Fantasy 2, BioShock, Blue Dragon, Heavenly Sword, Medal of Honor Airborne, Halo 3 was a huge title. Um,
Assassin's Creed was
yeah,
there.
Assassin's Creed, Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, Crisis, Uncharted, like these were all massive games, you know. And I remember, like, I worked at Best Buy this year, so I was spending a lot of money that I shouldn't have been spending. But like, I have never played more games in my life than 2007. I just remember anytime I was done, there's another game that was coming out.
It just seems like that they're missing the point when it comes to which game is the best year for video games. I know Rob McCallum and I had an argument once because he was talking about some year in the 1990s with the Zelda, the year that came out, and that was a great year that a certain Zelda came out, and so, I forget which year in the 1990s. I know he's going to remind me on one of these occasions which year that is, but we were going back and forth, but he couldn't win because of the fact that 2007 had games that have affected the industry going forward, even 15 years later,
Yeah,
because you're about ready later this year to play a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 reboot, which all emanates from the most popular and most well beloved game in the Call of Duty series, which helped make it a behemoth that it is today. When it concerns Uncharted, when Uncharted, whatever comes back as far as Uncharted 5, whatever Uncharted, that would be, I mean,
hmm,
that series is one of the most beloved. We just had a $400 million movie based off the video game Uncharted from 2007.
yeah,
Mass Effect hopefully will, if what I was telling everybody out there recently, Prime Gaming is going to have a special free version of the Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, right there. It's going to be available, I think, hopefully on the 12th, if I'm not mistaken, at the Prime Gaming. But that emanates from the huge hit from the success of Mass Effect 2007. It just,
yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Next time you and I talk about a new Assassin's Creed on the way, guess where it emanates from? 2007. I mean, just
Mhm.
all these important games. The Orange Box. What are the games in the Orange Box that were there? Team Fortress 2 and
Yeah, Portal, right? Wasn't Portal on
Portal.
there?
Yep, Portal. And Portal is one of the most beloved games that's there, and that came from the Orange Box in 2007. So a
Yeah.
lot of these games, Super Mario Galaxy, you know, that's just been an incredibly beloved game, and that emanated as far as the Super Mario series going forward, and that came in 2007. So
Yeah.
I just man, it just I think that when it comes down to is you people are going to have to realize that it's just a situation where the best games, the most momentous games, didn't come statistically maybe from 2007, but when you look at it, when you match it up against any other year, I think it's just there's no choice. There's just no choice to make.
Well, I'd be curious about what the average Joe thinks is the best year of gaming. Like I read a lot of gaming websites. I jump around from IGN to Polygon to Kotaku to Game Informer, whatever else is out there, and like I see them rating high these games that like I hated. So I'd be curious to know what the average Joe thinks is the best year. In fact, if you're listening to this podcast, send us an email and let us know the best year of gaming for
Or
you,
reach out social media
or reach
sometime.
out on social
Yeah,
media, and we'll post something, I'm sure. But I want to know what everyone else thinks is the best year of gaming, because I certainly wouldn't ask a critic what the best movie ever made was. I would want to know what average people think. So reach out, let us know what the best year of gaming is in your opinion, because I really want to know what the average person thinks.
yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So please, if you have any thoughts on the best year of video games, because I'm convinced it's 2007. Josh, which year is it for you?
I mean, looking at it, I would say 2007, but the one that sticks out in recent memory for me is 2017.
Yeah.
But that was also because that was the last year that we got a lot of games, quality games out, and then we ended up going 2018, 19, pre-pandemic, pandemic, and all that. So that's just the year that sticks out in recent memory to me. I don't know if it's the best, but
Well, again, everybody has their opinion on it. Statistically, Spade's Challenge says that it's a different year, 2003. And again, we have issues with how that was structured, but still, I mean, that's their thoughts. Our thoughts are different. What are your thoughts on the best year of video games? Please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, a couple things before we head on out. Amazon Prime Day is here, or actually, it's on the verge of being here as I talk about this. It's going to be starting on the 12th, 13th. Best Buy is going to be running a sale themselves. And I know
yeah,
another Walmart, Target, I know a lot of these outlets are going to be running competing sales for your money as well. So people have to be on the lookout for that. And of
yeah.
course, like I
That
said,
that's
go.
tough because they don't. Amazon sells everything.
Oh,
Like Target doesn't sell everything. Best Buy doesn't sell everything. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but like I'm still gonna go to Amazon.
and right there from just a couple clicks away on your computer. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. I know they've got a lot of sales that have started up already, so you can actually start peeking around to seeing what's there. But they've got a lot of major sales coming for 12th and 13th. But yeah, I mean, we talked about this every year, as far as Amazon Prime Day being an event now more than just a sale. I mean, is the most, I think, right now looked over sale, the most beloved, most interested sale that people have outside of Black Friday, I think, all year long when it comes down to it. I think there's no other sale right now that people talk about more outside of Black Friday than Amazon Prime Day. Am I wrong?
No, I don't. Absolutely not. Yeah, I
Well, I mean,
remember Best Buy called it Cyber Monday, didn't they? No, that was the day after Black Friday. Never mind.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, again, Best Buy is trying to throw competing sales. Target's trying to throw competing sales. Walmart's trying to throw competing sales on Walmart and Walmart.com. So, I mean, the sales are out there for you, but Amazon Prime Day is coming and it's going to start this week on the 12th and 13th. So, look out for it. Hopefully, you can find a sale at a price and a product that you've been looking for at a price that you want to go ahead and pay for. So, I'm hoping that there'll be some good deals out there for everyone out there. So, if you have thoughts on Amazon Prime Day and some good deals. I know they're going down. Obviously, anything relating to the Amazon equipment or the Amazon brand, like the Fire series or Ring that they bought, and of course now they have the Ring security systems that they go ahead and now it's under their umbrella. So the Fire systems, the Fire TV. Obviously, I know Alexa systems. If you need another Alexa, you can go ahead and probably get a good deal on that. I know they have a lot of TVs that they're going to have on sale, electronics, consumer electronics, are going to be at a big reduction. So I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. And of course, that leads into clothes, that leads into jewelry, leads into all the things that they sell there. So yeah, a massive sale, I think, is going on Prime Day. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I always enjoy Amazon is actually a good place to buy like anime. That's where I get anytime I buy like I'm trying to collect all the series that I watched from my childhood and teenage years, and Amazon's always a great place to find stuff like that. They also have great deals on video games most of the time, and Prime Day is just like an excuse for me to go on and spend money that I probably shouldn't be. But hey, when in Rome.
When in Rome, indeed. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that I know that's coming up. And again, if you're interested in downloading a free copy of Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, they're supposedly going to, during the Prime Day, take a look at that because they're on the Prime Gaming site that they're supposed to have a download available for free copy of Mass Effect Legendary Edition, plus some retro Star Wars games and Grid Legends. I know that they've already got a ton of free games available right now on the Prime Gaming site, so check that out now and also on Prime Days as well. So just giving gamers out there a heads up once again. But if you have thoughts out there on Amazon Prime Day, some big sales ahead for Amazon Prime Day, please let us know. PopCultureCosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode, but I thought I'd leave the last 7 to 10 minutes or so in regards to something that is near and dear to our hearts. And that is a movie that at the time did not resonate well with audiences, but has since found a life in and of itself. And 40 years later, it is now considered one of the benchmarks for science fiction and what it created at that time in regards to, I guess, the early levels of CGI and what it introduced as far as the look and feel of a futuristic film that it is, and that is Tron.
Mm-hmm.
Tron turned 40 this past weekend. I was really excited to go ahead and remember how much it influenced an early part of my life as far as the game itself. You went ahead and played the arcade game, which you can get a reproduction of with Arcade One Up. So give arcade1up.com a shout out if you're looking to go ahead and relive the fun of Tron. But I think that the movie itself, it again, it was kind of misunderstood when it first came out, and it didn't do well financially. And Disney was like, "Oh man, this stinks." Another black hole, because the black
Yeah,
hole was supposed to be their
right.
Star Wars, and that didn't
Mhm.
pan out. But Tron actually found a life in and of itself, and the light cycles and all the action. It really it's got a look and feel even now that it's not that bad. It's a good movie, tells a good narrative, and I really think it's something that was really way ahead of its time when it came out.
Oh, absolutely, I agree, and, like, you're right, it did come out at a time when a good, sci-fi movie was like a dime a dozen, right? There's just
Well,
sci-fi
Blade
movies.
Runner was
Blade
around that time, and that
Right.
wasn't appreciated at first.
Yeah, yeah, it's just I don't it was like you said, it's ahead of its time, and had it been made today, it would have been a whole different story. But you look at that this movie, and it paved the way for a lot of the movies we have today. Look at Ready Player One, like is
Mhm.
just brimming with Tron influence. The Matrix is like I honestly doubt the Matrix would exist without Tron. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I mean, maybe others will disagree with me on that, but I mean, this whole idea of diving into a digital world, like has spawned so much. And I don't know about you, but like I enjoyed Tron Legacy. Like I thought it was a visual
That's
feast.
the 2010
Mhm.
sequel, just to let everybody know. The
Yeah.
spiritual sequel, which returned Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner back to the actual world of Tron. And
Mhm.
yeah, it like you said, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really a good movie. Obviously, it had the influence of Daft Punk, and they, when they were together, like since I
Mhm.
guess they're now not together, they created a superb soundtrack. One of the best film soundtracks of the past 20 years is right there for you on Tron Legacy. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I think it was said best with Joseph Kosinski, who actually, he helmed later on this I guess little indie film is called Top Gun Maverick. So I think you
No
might have
one's
heard of
heard of
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody's heard of that.
Okay, yeah. But anyways, that little indie film he's found success with. But I remember him saying in interviews that they actually had a Tron 3 that was on the way in the last decade, but it fell through for various
Well,
reasons.
there's something with Jared Leto is supposed to
Yeah,
come out too, right? Like he's supposed to be leading
supposedly.
something. Yeah.
Well, although after Morbius, we never were quite sure. Memes
But
aside,
Jared
yeah.
Leto is like one of the most resilient actors in the world, though. Like he has been in flop after flop, but for every flop he makes, he wins an Academy Award. So I mean, it's
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, yeah, I just want to see it get back north. I really think people need to go out of their way on Disney Plus to go ahead if it's still on there. I haven't checked it out recently, but the animated series, the short-lived animated series from Tron, I thought that was really good. I would love to see them go back into that or a series of Tron itself instead of doing a Tron 3. Now that since a lot of the stuff that gets rebooted into a television series, I'd love to see a 6 to 10 episode arc of Tron.
I would love that too. What worries me is it seems like old Disney properties die in streaming format. Like Mighty Ducks is kind of doing that.
Well, it found its success early, the Mighty Ducks, with the reboot.
Yeah, it did, but now it's kind of like fizzling out. So I don't know. Like they have these cool ideas, but I also like it diminishes sometimes the original versions of it. So I just hope that they would give Tron its due.
Well, the thing is, my friend, as I tell everybody in regards to Disney Plus, I think one of their major flaws is the fact that they don't have supplemental content that's actually must watch at Disney Plus outside of Star Wars and Marvel. If it
Mhm.
doesn't say Star Wars or Marvel on the front of it, people really have, they don't have a need to see it
Well,
unless it's a
that's
Pixar movie like
yeah,
Turning Red. Turning Red, everybody checked out, but they need more supplemental stuff at Disney Plus in order to
but
have it continue to thrive.
right, but that's also the issue with streaming services and or movies, just the whole landscape of film right now in general. Like it surprises the heck out of me that Top Gun crossed $1 billion. Not because the movie is bad, but because like nobody goes to see anything. Nobody wants to watch anything anymore that doesn't say Star Wars or Marvel on it, or Disney's even iffy, but like nobody wants to see anything anymore that doesn't have those names on it. They don't want to go to the movies to watch things like that. And like that in itself, like I don't necessarily agree with the things that like James Cameron and Martin Scorsese say about these film franchises, but like I do agree with this idea that it's kind of ruining the way that people view film.
It is, I guess, in a way, I would say ruining it,
Not ruining it, but
but
yeah, I mean
it's
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 diminishing.
I don't know if it's diminishing. It's just changing the landscape, and it's just making it sometimes, in case as far as harder for other franchises to go ahead and succeed. Although DC with the Batman has found a ways to succeed. You saw
Yeah.
everybody getting all that nostalgia, but nostalgia was only going to go so far. A new audience found Top Gun Maverick. Ultimately, the reason why it went over
Mhm.
$1 billion is because not only just people that saw the '80s movie went to see it, but a new audience, a younger audience, went to go ahead and see it as well. That's why Top Gun Maverick has succeeded to the point and level that it has. I think that's the reason why is that it succeeded on all those levels and connected with an audience just so much larger than the ones that just saw the original movie. But when it comes to Tron, I really don't think that they should make a Tron movie. I really think they should go towards a focused series and try to improve the Disney Plus library even more. I think that's probably the best route because Tron Legacy was brought out and it made $400 million at the box office or right thereabouts. Not enough to go ahead at that point in time and greenlight an automatic sequel, but not enough to go ahead and just tuck it under the rug and just forget about it. Again,
Mhm.
like I said, they tried to go ahead and make a Tron 3 out of it, but I really think that the future for Tron should lie in something more substantial and long term. I know that I guess at Disney World, they're doing a Tron related ride
That's
there.
what I was gonna say. That I know
Yeah.
Disneyland Tokyo has that, but I don't know. Wasn't sure if they were bringing
I
it over to
think
the States.
Orlando is what they were building in Orlando or they were thinking about doing it when I was there. So I think that that there's going to be something in place for Tron, and I think they'll revisit Tron again because you know how Hollywood as a whole they revisit all these old properties when they don't have any original ones. So
Yeah,
I think I think Tron at some point will find a bigger life. Whether or not people will accept it, that again is all about the storytelling.
yeah,
I really think if you have the kind of good storytelling that the original Tron has, and even to an extent Tron Legacy, I like Tron Legacy as well. I thought that was a pretty good story. I thought that was a pretty good movie. Again, the soundtrack is amazing, but if you can find a story that's going to connect with an audience like the original Tron, I think there could be a future for Tron just yet.
yeah. I agree. And what bums me out though is like I really wanted to see they set up Tron Legacy to end in a way that was like, oh hey, we're gonna revisit this because we just did something monumental, and now we're not. It's not gonna be able to show what happens.
Well, hopefully we will see a future for Tron. I think that if you get a chance, please go ahead on Disney Plus and check out the original Tron and also as well Tron Legacy. They're both pretty good films. They both are a good watch. Tron has, I think, for the better part, has held up over the course of 40 years. It is one of Jeff Bridges' better performances. I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, Jeff Bridges is still hot these days as far as with the old man getting renewed at FX. So, yep, he's doing well still indeed. But if you want to go ahead and check out, I think, a good science fiction series, go ahead and check out Tron and Tron Legacy today on Disney Plus. And at 40 years later, I think it still can resonate with us today. And hopefully, we will see a future for Tron in some form or fashion, Jared Leto or otherwise, hopefully down the road. And Tron will hopefully see the light once again. But what are your thoughts out there on Tron 40 years later, celebrating its 40th birthday? Please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, another great episode in the books, my friend. Cannot appreciate as always. I appreciate as always you stopping by, co-hosting as always you do. But any last thoughts? New Papa on the way before we head on out.
I think we covered quite a bit, man. I know there is going Ubisoft announced something coming up that
Skull and
we'll
Bones.
talk about here soon.
Are yeah.
Yeah,
If
not terribly interested in Skull and Bones, but we'll see what they got. They're kind of like I don't know, they're fading away here a little bit with like the acquisition rumors by them, and I don't know. There's just too much going on. But
oh,
yeah, I mean,
you think Ubisoft is not exactly the company that it once was?
I don't think so, man. I think they got over bloated and then they started talking about, hey, we're going to release things and then never talking about them again. We got Beyond Good and Evil 2. Um, what else was there? There's that like project they were working on with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I don't know. There's just there's a lot. I think they don't quite know. They don't really have an identity anymore. They've kind of lost themselves in the whole scandal, the sexual harassment scandals that keep popping up in their thing. And I don't know. They need to kind of reevaluate who they are and what they want.
I agree with you, my friend. The future is still there for Ubisoft, but is it as there as it once was? Will it be as strong as it once was? We'll see. But my friend, always great having you here. Looking forward to my conversation coming up this Friday with Melinda Barkhouse Ross. But as always, for the best in pop culture, always stay tuned to us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh Peterson, aka Josh Culture Cosmos, aka Josh Culture Cosmos, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.